What is up, podcast? Welcome back to another episode of Paradise on Fire. Me, Mel, Matty Milkshake, coming in here talking about our deepest, darkest secrets, insecurities, and anxious things. And Melissa's laughing because she's anxious right now because today is her day to share about something fresh and something anxious. And this was her choice. She decided to do this. She was like, "Hey guys, I want to talk about this," and we're like, "You want to talk about it?" So we're gonna kind of be getting into stuff that transpired over the weekend of Ian, her husband, my brother-in-law, competing at the Tampa Pro, the pressure, the stress, and just a lot of stuff, and her dealing with as a significant other. One day we will get Ian on here, and he will share his side of it. And when that time comes, I'm sure that will be another episode. But we're going to kind of give the flip side of it. And we had a podcast record last week, but we're putting this one up this week just to make it more relevant with the time. So if you guys know there's a little bit of talking like confusion, that's exactly why. But we're going to get into that after our weekly Peach and Pit. So we're going to go through highlights, lowlights. Matt, you want to start this one?
Yeah, I'll start. My peach this week was that it was my birthday. So I had a lot of
My birthday.
It's probably also my pit just because I'm getting old. But
Wait, how old are you? 29?
28.
Oh my god.
28.
You're what? You're a year older than me.
Yeah, but I'm turning 30.
That one, honestly, like anything, I think 25 hurt, and then anything between 25 and 30 is just like the same number, but 30 is like, I'm basically dead.
Yeah, you're in like the decade of old people.
Yeah.
I just hang out with people older than me, so I never feel that bad.
Like
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
So like even when you turn 30, you won't care because we'll be
You'll
35.
be 35, yeah.
Oh my god. Or when you're 35, I'll be 40. Oh god.
I don't even want to go there. I always say like my 10-year plan is I'll just be dead, so I don't really know what's going to happen after that.
Tinder plan?
My 10-year, yeah.
Oh, 10 years.
Oh,
You said Tinder.
I thought he said
Oh,
Tinder.
no.
I was like, what?
Yeah, it's my Tinder plan.
Pick up line, hey, I want to be dead. Okay.
No, but I just had a lot of ice cream this week, so probably had about 3 or 4 days in a row, had some cake, and feeling pretty shitty about myself, but it was definitely worth it.
I literally saw you're peeled
He's
right
fucking
now.
shredded.
Yeah.
You're like so lean right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty lean right now.
It's like-
I mean, I did it just because I was bored. I was nowhere to go, so I just kind of also I've been having issues like acid reflux and stuff like that, so I figured like no appetite, I would just diet down, see how it would work, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm ready to eat again, so I'm kind of glad that I dieted down and figured it out.
And now you can eat ice cream and still look like that.
Well, now I do probably my problem is once I start eating like that, and then every other week, it's like I want to have like a big cheat day, and that's just awful for you. So I really don't want to do that. But
the way you do it, maybe.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do, yeah.
You do like 10,000 calories in a cheat.
Oh, mine's bad. I mean, the other day I had funfetti cake is usually like my thing that I like for my birthday, but I decided to do funfetti pancakes with it too. So I did like a whole box of that. Plus,
I thought he was gonna say instead with it.
Oh no, with it. I put the cake on top, and then I melted vanilla icing and used that as the syrup on my pancake.
Put the cake on top of the pancake.
The cake on top, yeah.
So you made all this at home.
Yeah.
Oh yum. That tastes even better.
Oh, the box cake. People always say box cake or ice cream cake for birthdays, and usually like everyone picks ice cream cake. I love box cake.
Box cake is good.
You one year told me, I think it's when you were living with us, you put funfetti cake mix in pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
And you made them, and it was so good.
Like cake mixed into the pancake.
Yes,
Yeah.
you like I think you added like 3 tablespoons or something.
Yeah.
And it just made it taste so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you put on that vanilla icing on top, because IHOP has cupcake pancakes, and that's just like my go-to thing when I go there. So I'm like, what can I do to like recreate that? So it was definitely one of my better things I've made.
Did you party at all or just eat junk food?
I went out the night before. Not really anywhere, just kind of went out to dinner and stuff like that, and then went out this weekend, but just kind of hung out. Didn't really go into, I mean, you can't really go to bars or anything, so and kind of just hung out at home.
Yeah, well, that's
not
fun.
bad. That's what happens when you get old. You just kind of like don't care.
You just sit at home and go into a sugar coma.
Yeah.
Not a bad day.
Cry into the empty icing that you're almost 30.
Yeah, and then you get a pint of ice cream, and then cry some more.
Oh, that's funny.
What about you guys? Chris?
I'm not prepared.
Is all yours going to be related around what we're talking about?
I mean, kind of. It's hard to like not, because like that was such like a big emotional part of my week. But like, I mean, my real peach is definitely like him, Ian. Ian did the Tampa Pro this weekend. I don't know if everyone listening is gonna know like bodybuilding that like intensely, but yeah, he had a rough time. He didn't look as good as he wanted, and I feel like my peach is that like he was very open and sharing his feelings with me, and I'm grateful for that. I feel like very close and connected to him. And then the pit is obviously feeling the same emotions as him and watching him go through that. But like another peach, which is not as serious and a bit more lighthearted. I'm like shaking already, and I'm not even talking about anything yet. I'm so sorry, you guys, if I sound like a fucking weirdo, but like I can't help it right now. No, but another peach is that I'm finally like feeling very good in my own skin again. So like I'm not like always wearing baggy clothes, and I can wear different bathing suits and like crop tops, and like listen, I don't look fantastic, but I don't care. I still feel happy. So I'm just like happy to be there again, to be honest. And like, I couldn't have said that 2 weeks ago. So like every week I'm like, I don't know if I'm losing weight. I feel like I am, but like, I'm not weighing myself, but like every week I just feel a bit more confident and a bit more comfortable. And that's just like, I'm just so grateful to feel like that again. Cause like, I didn't even want to leave my house if I wasn't like baggy, not just baggy, but like triple XL clothes that made me look like a homeless person because I was so uncomfortable. So
at least it's in style right now.
It is, but mostly girls are like in like really, really tight bottoms, and then they have this like massive thing on. I was like loose bottoms, loose top, just looked like a homeless person. So yeah, that's happening, and I'm happy about it.
Okay, I guess mine. I don't know what the fuck mine's gonna be. My peach is between our weekend at the cottage with our parents. We had a fun day out, like Saturday. It was cut a little short watching Ian, but we got in the morning to go skiing and wakeboarding, and I went wakeboarding for the first time in forever. We got my parents on the tube. Yeah, pretty hilarious to watch.
Mom and Dad both went on the tube.
Yeah, they were tubing behind the boat, and I got to drive with my dad behind it. I was taking it very gentle with him. The last time I went, I ripped my friends off. But there were a few times we went over some bumps, just seeing his face go like, just losing it over. It was a lot of fun, and it was super funny to watch.
Is it like one tube for like a person, or is it like the one you have like multiple people you could sit on?
They have both, but we were using a little one.
Ian said that he was like, were they on there together? And I was like, that would have been so hilarious. Cuter. Yeah. Why didn't we do that?
That would have been really funny.
I also think my other pit is that I almost drowned wakeboarding.
Almost drowned?
Oh yeah.
I literally felt like, and I broke 2 of my nails got ripped off by the fucking
first and final attempt.
I couldn't. Like I tried, and I was like not really mentally prepared, and then I never felt so awful in my life. So much water went like up my nose, in my mouth, in my eyes, and I came up, and I just like I knew I was above water, but I couldn't breathe. I like saw the light.
It's because we don't have a wakeboard boat, so the rope is attached really low instead of up high, and there's no like deck at the back that creates a big wake. So you have to hold on for your life underwater for like 8 to 10 seconds. Just hold on, and water's just shooting up your nose, up your face. You have to just fight it to stand up, and it takes all my strength to do it.
The funniest part was when he was doing it, and like I couldn't think of it during the weekend, like what it looked like, but you could see his face underneath like this like sheet of water, basically like trying to stand up, and it's for like at least 10 seconds, and he looked like, you know, like babies in the fetus when they're like
coming out like
forward. His face, or like when you watch sci-fi movies and they're like clones are coming out of like liquid or something.
Like Matrix when he comes out of the thing.
Yes, his face was just like there, like just trying to come out of the water, and I was like, he's gonna die. And then he stood up, and I was like, okay, thank God.
It's attached to your like feet, right? The board.
No, you're holding onto a rope.
But I'm saying like
attached to your feet.
Oh, the board's attached to your feet. Yeah. It wasn't wake surfing; it's wakeboarding.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little easier.
Speak for yourself.
I don't really have a pit. I can't think of one. I don't know.
Maybe that I ruined your Saturday.
No, not really.
You don't have a pit at all?
Nothing that comes to my mind.
Huh.
I was stressed about Ian too. That
Yeah.
was probably the most stressful, poor thing of my week.
Yeah.
Was like seeing him like not being happy with how he did and being stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Yeah, that's it, I guess.
The end. Podcast is over for the week.
See you guys later. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, I mean, I guess that was like the most significant thing that happened. It was leading up to it was a big thing too. Like, how did you want to get into talking about that? Do you want to talk about how like he felt leading into it?
I mean, I wanted to talk about this today because even though I'm extremely uncomfortable right now and very emotional, I like have a lot of things fresh in my mind that I can share that I normally wouldn't remember. And a lot of people ask me, like, what's the hardest part about dating a competitor or dating someone that's a bodybuilder or someone high up in their like athletic, whatever profession? And I can't really think of anything because when you're good, you don't really think about these like stressful, bad, I don't want to say bad because it's not really bad, but it's hard. You don't think of those hard things because you're like, oh, well, it was okay. Like sometimes he wouldn't take me out to dinner, like stupid shit like that. But after going through last weekend, like the hardest part is going through these like high intense pressure moments and seeing the person that you love not get what they want and seeing them break down and you can't do anything about it. And it's like, it literally makes you want to die. So I just wanted to come on here and kind of like give some insight to that and maybe try to like share a bit of the pressure that Ian felt and how that kind of was detrimental to what happened this weekend. And Christopher said before, like how he was feeling leading up to this. I honestly was like very confident and I thought he was too. Like I was so sure and he was looking amazing and I was like, this is his show. Like he feels good. He's like in the groove. He's super focused, all these things. And then it was like 2 days before when I spoke to him, I think it was
Before leaving or on the phone while you
no, on the phone while he was there. So I didn't even go to Tampa because I have a job. I work in a pharmacy and I would have had to quarantine for 2 weeks after. So I would have had to take 3 weeks off. And it just, when I talked to Ian, it didn't even seem like my guilt's going to like come out of my tear ducts right now. Ugh. It didn't seem like something that I even needed to talk to my work about because he seemed so okay with going by himself. Like he wanted someone to be there, but he was like,
I've also seen this throughout the years, and you guys have gone to shows together, and it's been good. And you guys have not gone to shows together, and I think it's powerful for a relationship to be able to admit I did really good alone here, but you still love each other. And last time he did a show alone, he enjoyed it. He had lots of fun. He just
but
was
his
like
mom
doing
was
his
there.
own thing.
Like
in Spain?
Yeah, he's never gone alone.
Fully alone? Oh, okay.
When I went to Tampa, I was alone, and I thrived. I'm like pretty independent. I also don't put pressure on myself like Ian does. And Ian's never gone to a show without somebody.
Yeah.
It's either me or his mom. So he didn't want his mom to come because she's older and he didn't want to expose her, God forbid. And me, I just kind of said, I can't take 3 weeks off. Like the staffing at my work won't allow it. And I didn't talk to my boss about it because I just didn't think it was an issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so he went and he was really excited and he got there and there was like the first day where he took videos and he had to selfie camera it and he's never had to do that before. And he called me and it was difficult because he was like,
everyone looks shitty on a selfie camera.
Yeah, he was like, the angle's weird. This isn't how I'm used to seeing myself. And I was like, well, like this is going to happen. Like, and your coach is going to know that it's not the same angle and that you're selfieing and that it's propped up. Like, it's okay. And he got through it. He, got through the day and kept doing the selfie videos. And then he was confident. He was looking good. He was sending me all his videos and he was looking better by the day. And then I think it was Thursday that I talked to him on the phone and his mindset had just totally shifted. And he basically was like, I look worse than I did the day before. I'm not going to win, basically. He just kept saying, I'm not going to win. I don't even want to be here. I want to go home. And like, I'm on the phone with him for 30 minutes trying to basically talk him off the ledge. But like anything I say it's falling on deaf ears. He's just like so anxious, like wrapped up in this like Hunter versus Ian, like he's better than me. Like what if all along, like my photos have been taken in the right light. So I thought I looked good, but I actually don't look good. Like just like spiraling.
Overthinking.
Yeah. And I couldn't really do anything. I didn't feel like there was anything that I could say. And I'm pretty logical when things like this like happen. Like I'll be like, well, like, let's like think about this. It's impossible that like you've shit the bed that hard in the last 4 hours that everything's down the drain. Like you need to control your mind. You need to do these things. And it's almost like he gets annoyed almost. It's like, I think it's almost like you don't understand how I'm feeling. That's how he takes it. When I'm not trying to say that, I'm just trying to like stay positive and not like get in the shithole with him. So that happened. And then I think it was, I mean, I didn't say it to him, obviously I would never, but that's when I kind of started like having doubts that he might not actually win the show. And I guarantee you on that day, on Thursday, he had convinced himself that he wasn't going to win. And there was no chance that anyone could tell him otherwise. And he just like fulfilled that prophecy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just like willed it to happen by being so sure that that's what was going to happen.
I mean, your mind is fucking. I'm such a fucking big believer in your mind for everything, and everyone likes to think it's not a big thing in bodybuilding because once you do the work, you're there.
Mm-hmm.
But like, your body can like physically change, and how you present yourself will change. Your posing is a big fucking deal. And like this year at the Olympia was the most confident I've ever felt on stage in my entire life, and it was a close call. Brianna almost beat me, and I believe if I didn't feel like that, I would have lost. 100%. How I felt when I started to relax and feel confident, I started to shed water off me. I started to look better. I could pose better. I was more confident on stage, and I just presented myself better. And that little difference, I believe, made me win.
You even changed as you were on stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you had that feeling of confidence. You came out on stage, you acted as such, and then you fed off the energy of what you were feeling because people were reacting to your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just started getting better and better and better. And every single, and like, I don't want to talk shit about Brian, but Brian started to look worse.
Yeah, he was, you could see it, yeah.
When the call-outs were happening and prejudging, Christopher was basically like hardening up and just like, you weren't phased. You weren't exhausted, like nothing. You were just like you were happy.
I was just loving it.
Yeah. And Brian was just like fading and tired and just like already defeated.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's how he felt. I can't speak for him, but that's what I saw sitting 2 feet away.
And I've seen other competitors and I knew after that they were stressed and worried about things. And when you start to like breathing is a huge thing. When you're anxious, you breathe up into your chest and through your neck. When you start to take those shallow breaths, you can't pose the same. You have no oxygen going through your body. You start to get shaky. You can't hold the pose as long. Your stomach starts to go out. Everything goes.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, more physical stuff. When you're stressed, you'll hold on to more water. People's midsections, their abs will disappear. Like a lot goes into it, more than honestly posing and then physically how you look and what's going on inside your body. It is a fucking big mental game. And there's a lot of pressure. You just you worked your whole life for 30 seconds up there.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking everyone's watching you. Everyone told you you're going to win. They're expecting you to win. You've told yourself you're going to win. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, the more cortisol production you have, like, right? So if you start tensing up, you can't get into your full pose. You can't, like you said, you start holding in more water. And just you could tell from 2018 to 2019. 2018 is when you had more of your issues that were happening, but you never fully relaxed on stage.
mm-hmm.
You know, I think 2019 was when you went up there. I mean, you're as cool as you could be. You can say, like, do no wrong in that instance because you were just felt like in the moment, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ian, I guess, I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't know. But when you start telling yourself these things, like that immediately you're gonna, I guess, pull in more water that way. And just the sheer fact that he's tensing up. I mean, he can't, you're not getting an accurate picture, I think, of what he actually was like 2 days prior to that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And probably every competitor goes through that. We'll go through
Yeah.
it. I've even heard things people say, and it kind of was like that for me when I was stressed out. Your skin pH can change.
Mm.
And like his
The
tan looked
tan.
fucking whack. And it wasn't a great spray to begin with, I don't think, but the color was like different. And I think because of the stress. And when I was stressed in 2018, just like that, my color was fucking like green almost.
Yeah.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then he fixed it up at night and looked way better. But like
He was also a lot calmer at night.
yeah.
Though.
Yeah.
The pressure had been released at that point because he already knew what was happening. He's not stupid. He's probably the most qualified in my life that can look at people on stage and say first, second, third, fourth, whatever, you know what I mean? Like he knew what was going to happen. So the pressure was gone and he looked like a completely different person at night. It was like,
I think it was a more accurate like representation of who he was.
More accurate. He still wasn't at his.
No.
No, I'm saying like, but the fact that he was able to, I mean, some people would have gone into prejudging, I think, and then like would have been like, "Fuck this, I'm not showing up for the night show" type of thing. But like the fact that he like was able to kind of compose himself, and like you said, he's probably one of the smartest people that we know, all of us in the industry, as far as like and being real with what the actual placing is.
Mm-hmm.
And he still went home, and I mean, he showed up not his best still at the night show, but the fact that he showed up the way he still did at the night show, I think is a testament to who he is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, I looked at like my parents and Christopher at the night show and I was just so proud. Like I didn't
like
I didn't care that like he didn't look as good as he should have or that I've seen him, but just that he like mentally came back and was like posed like that and did what he needed to do. I was just like so proud of him because I know how he is as a man. He's so hard on himself. I can't explain how, like, for someone who's like so easy on me, the way he is to himself, I'm like, and he afterwards he was like pissed that he even was getting second. Like he was like, I don't even want second, I don't deserve it. Like it was like heartbreaking, you know what I mean? So the fact that he turned it around, I was just like so proud of him, and I hope he's proud of himself. I don't think he's there yet, you know what I mean? But I think one day soon he will be.
It's a much harder task to pull that around than to show up with no expectations and just kind of fucking dawdle through it and like go through the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think from comparison, like from this or like from when he was in the Olympia in 2018, I mean, he was just ecstatic to like be there, you know? So I think like the fact that there literally was no pressure of placing, he could care less. He just was that I'm on the Olympia stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just that fact of, I mean, he was so calm. He was, like you said, he was a kid in a candy shop that day, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the fact that, you know, he had last year, he didn't get to the Olympia, but I think this year, like he had such a great off season. I think like the hardest thing is he was going into these shows after these off seasons and then COVID hit, right? So he had to deal with all these different external things that came out of nowhere. I mean, training in a basement gym isn't ideal. I know everyone had to deal with certain things, but I'm sure more often than not, most guys had access to like a complete gym.
Most pro guys.
Yeah.
Who were competing, And then people who weren't getting ready for fucking their career on the stage, just competing, didn't have a gym, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think that in itself was, again, I mean, he had a Smith machine and probably not as many plates as he has to lift pretty heavy. I mean, and he had to kind of adapt his training to fit that style, I guess. So I think that in itself is something.
The funniest thing about that though is like, do I think that actually affected the way he looked? No, but I think once he got in this like self-doubt spiral, he started to say, well, I didn't have a gym this whole time. Like, what if I'm just look bad because I didn't have a gym this whole time? And I wanted to like shake him and be like, no, like you still have made extreme improvements. And just because you don't see them right now in this exact light, in this exact photo, doesn't mean that they're not there. Yeah. So like when he gets like, or I mean, probably anybody, when you get in this like spiral of convincing yourself that something is doomed to fail, you like will grasp at anything to like rationalize it, you know?
And if it wasn't, I agree, it wasn't the training, but I would say the physical aspect of
The environment.
the environment, not the gym of the training, but like him not seeing anybody but you and me sometimes, and just like in a basement back home, and having no contact with anyone. That's just hard for anyone, you know, like to not release any event or joke around with some friends, laugh, do with us, banter with people, like whether or not anyone ever admits it, that's going to affect anyone's mind. But
And I think at the same time, like, yes, he loves doing it, but at the same time, he has such a passion for it. I think, like you said, so every time he goes out there, he wants to look his best. So immediately when he doesn't feel that he looks his best, it's just like almost game over in his head. And I think that's for a lot of people, that once that stress builds, it's kind of like your make or break it type of thing, you know?
And it's something you have to respect more to have than not than someone who puts that pressure on himself.
Yeah.
Say it's unhealthy and it's bad, but like no one becomes the best in the world something without building a great immense pressure on them. And him coming in talking confident and being confident, saying he's going to beat Hunter, believing he's going to beat Hunter, and I believe he's a better bodybuilder than Hunter without a doubt, and like then not, like that's really hard, but like that's mindset is what it takes to be the best in the world at something, or the best you can be at something, and that's what he's doing. And I think more people are afraid to act like that, put that pressure on them, and then just like and say like, oh, I'm good bodybuilder, I can beat this guy, and have that pressure on themselves. They're too afraid to even create that expectation on themselves because they're going to fail and they're afraid to get where he's at right now is their biggest fear. He put himself in this position that allowed him to be there because he had the courage to put everything he had into something he loved, you know? And that's the only thing that's going to separate you from being elite as opposed to just being like a fucking competitor or business person or whatever. It separates people. Anything is that fucking fear, and that having the courage to dive into that fear and put everything you have on the line, knowing damn well you could fucking crash and burn and lose it all, but you got to do it because it's what you do.
Well, yeah, and you're gonna say out loud, "I'm gonna win," with the risk that you're not going to in that whatever. You're gonna look like a fool or whatever it is, whatever that we're scared of. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I've ever gone into a show and like ever said out loud to anybody, "I'm going to win this show." I probably never even felt it, to be honest. No, I definitely never have felt it. And like maybe that's why I probably won't place first in every show that I do. I don't have that mindset. That's just not who I am. Or I don't know, maybe I'm scared. I don't know why I don't do it, but I don't. And like Ian is always the person that will say that he's going to win and he's doing this to win. The only reason I'm doing this is to win. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's still very realistic. He knows he's not going to go beat Phil Heath.
Oh no, it's
but like when it's still something very difficult.
Yeah.
It's still within reason.
Yeah.
But that's like me saying I'm going to go beat Phil Heath. You know, like, or me saying I'm going to be Ian in the bodybuilding show. Like, not happening.
Yeah.
I think at the same time, though, like, I mean, you see some comments on Instagram on saying like, oh, maybe he shouldn't have said so many things like prior to or whatever like that. And I don't agree with that because I think, like you said, at the same time, he's going in it to win it. Like that's his mindset. That's who he is. And he shouldn't be any different than that. And I think at the same time, for anyone who's saying those things also doesn't realize that him and Hunter going back at it, like creates more excitement for the show, creates more excitement for the sport. And I think like the sport's almost kind of lost some of that in a sense.
Yeah.
So like they want this to happen, but then when something goes wrong for somebody, they just like shit on them. And I think that's just kind of like, you know, not the best thing to do, but I think it definitely created more excitement for the show. And I think it was good for bodybuilding.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who after the show chirped Ian or said like, oh, like look who's fucking, you were talking big game and now look what, or like called him an idiot for that, is a fucking pussy who probably never stood for something, tried their best for something in their entire life. And put their shit on the line.
But what do they expect? He's gonna go in an interview and be like, "Yeah, I really think I'm gonna come second in this show. That's why I'm doing it." Like,
and if he did, they'd probably call him a pussy then.
Yeah, like I don't know.
That's what I mean. They're stupid idiots.
Yeah, I think there's always people like that. And what I said to Ian, I was like, you just need to not read comments. To be honest, like I don't read comments. Like,
and for anyone that said anything about him, like deactivating his Instagram for like the time period between prejudging and finals, like not for nothing, like at that point, if you're already stressed, you don't need to keep reading the same comments over and over again of people just making things up or anything like that. So at that point, like just get in your own head about, you know, a mindset that you need to get to and anything like that. Like, he wasn't doing it to hide from anybody. He was doing it just to clear his own head, you know? And I think that's what people need to realize is, I mean, you don't want to keep adding to the stress, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And like, honestly, that probably wasn't, I think if Ian needed space from Instagram, he could have just deleted the app. Like, I think it was very rash for him to deactivate, because in his head, he was like, I'm leaving Instagram forever. And I think that was real in his head at that time, because he was so like beat down. Like, he felt like such a piece of shit, seeing everything and seeing all those things. And realistically, I don't know, he did what he needed to do, but like, something that I really admire about Ian is that he doesn't think about how anything that he does looks to other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I won't do a caption that might ruffle feathers because I don't want other people to think that I'm some type of way, or I won't do a comment that, or I won't deactivate my Instagram because I don't want people to think that I did it because a certain thing. Whereas Ian, like, he actually doesn't give a fuck. He just does what he needs to do, and he doesn't think about, oh, I'm going to do this because this is how it looks. And like,
Yeah.
I respect that a lot, because
Me too. Yeah.
it's really hard. It's really, really hard to live your life like that. Because if you actually think about how many times a day you make a decision based on what other people think or what other people are going to think, I guarantee you it's a hell of a lot more than you think.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I stand by everything he does, obviously. And I think he did what he needed to do in that moment. And he brought it back because he wanted to bring it back. And that's just that.
Who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
At the end, and it's
It's an
funny because,
Instagram account. Like,
yeah,
what?
at the end of the day, like, Ian is like a bodybuilder, and he's always a bodybuilder first. He doesn't really give a fuck about social media. It's
No.
there, and it needs to be there for us to make a living, basically. But like, Ian is a bodybuilder.
It could be gone.
Ian's been bodybuilding long before social media was a thing. You know what I mean?
He would still be doing bodybuilding if it wasn't for, like,
yeah, this is not his reason for anything. It's kind of like something he has to do.
I mean, I think not only was I proud of him for coming into the night show and everything like that, but even then, he still took the time to, write out his caption. I think that was, he showed emotion in that I probably haven't really seen either. So I think that was just like different to see, and I'm proud of him for that. And I think, I couldn't have said it any better than how he said it, you know? I think it captured everything he wanted to capture. He said, hey, here it all is, and, you know, let everybody else decide what to think, you know?
It's funny because this is what I was talking about earlier about like you and how you're different.
Yeah.
My mom gave me a hug like at the end of everything, when everything had calmed down and like I had finally eaten and like, you know, like things were more relaxed. And she gave me a hug and she was like, what did she say? It's really hard work to actually love somebody. Like, it's hard work to actually love somebody. And I was like, you're right, it is. Like, I'm choosing to put myself in a situation where I'm with a man that now I feel everything he's feeling. And I'm the person that he comes to when he's breaking down and when he's really hurting. And I was like thinking about that. She said that to me and I was like, it's hard, but I'm also like so privileged to be the person that gets to hear everything in his mind and in his heart. You know what I mean? And like, Ian really like shares everything with me, like good, bad, ugly, like it's not filtered. I get to hear it all. And as hard as it is sometimes, because it's heavy shit, I'm like so lucky that he shares that with me. You know what I mean? And like, I don't do that with him. I'm too scared. Like, there's things that stop me from doing it. And I kind of like, for a little bit, I was like, oh, it's like he's in a rough spot and he's calling me and it's a lot to handle. And I like can't handle this right now. And it's too much. And then I just like, my mom said that to me and I was thinking and I just switched my mindset. And I was like, I'm lucky that he's sharing all this with me. Like, that's a gift that probably not a lot of people get to experience in their life. Like, to have someone that actually is that open with you, like that's a lot. Like, I don't think I'm that open with anybody in my life. I don't even know if I'm like that open with myself sometimes. And it made me think about you and how you're not very open and how hard it would be to be like Courtney in the situation of you prepping for the Olympia last year. You know what I mean? Because like you were feeling a lot, like you were terrified beyond belief. And like I don't know how much you talk to her. I'm obviously not there all the time.
Yeah.
But like there also sometimes happens, or like it'll happen where you'll be feeling something in one moment and then it takes like days for something to come out, or like whatever, hours or anything. And then it'll come out, but it's like filtered and you get some of it and like whatever. And that changes how close you feel to a person. And it changes how much you trust them and how much you think they trust you and how much they value you. And I've never really questioned that with my relationship with Ian. I'm always like, he loves me so much. He would do anything for me. Like I trust him with everything. Like I've never had any sort of issues. And I really, truly think it's because he gives me everything. Like he gives me literally every single piece of him. And I think this weekend was the first time that I actually like felt that. And not only was I like overwhelmed and a bit scared of it, but I was actually very grateful for it. So, I mean, that's a good thing.
It sounds like a good thing.
But it's very heavy shit when like your partner is having these emotions and like you're the one they call, you know what I mean? Like Ian got off prejudging, or I think it was in between. Prejudging wasn't even over yet and he called my phone.
So he got off, he did his 1 minute free posing
and he called me and he said, how do I look? And like, what do you say?
Yeah.
What do you say at that point? You know, your husband has to go back out on stage and has to stay confident and still do something. But I just watched it and he did not look the way he should have. So like, how are you even supposed to handle something like that? Like there's literally no right way to handle that. And I can't lie. I'm not going to lie to him and he's going to go look at the video later and be like, well, you lied to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
See, I would want you to lie to me.
Huh?
I would want you to.
I mean, to be honest.
And I'm a lot different than him, like you always say. But like, when I called him after 2018, I thought I looked like shit, and he did think I looked good. But if he didn't and told me I looked better, I still would have got more confidence and felt better. And afterwards, if he lied, I would have been like, well, fuck, at least he boosted me up 5
Well, when he called me the first time, I didn't say very much. I just said, you need to pose better. I was like, you need to pose more confidently. You need to go on there and own it. That's all I said. And then when he called me after prejudging was over, and he was like, how did I look? And I think I said he looked flat or your tan was off or something. And he was like, well, no, like, tell me how it is. Like, tell me how it ended up. And I said, I was like, Hunter's beating you. Like, I can't lie at that point. Like, prejudging's over. Yeah. We all saw it. We all know what's happening. And he just basically said, I can't talk to you right now, and hung up on me. And I was like, fuck. Like, I wasn't mad at him. I wasn't sad. I was like, fuck, I just said the wrong thing. Like, that's all I thought. And then 2 minutes later, my phone rang and he was on the other end and he was just like sobbing. He was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I was like, you don't need to apologize to me right now. And he was like, I'm so overwhelmed. I feel like I just shit the bed. Like, I feel like all these things he was feeling. And I'm like sitting there across in a different country, like, what do? Like, it's very...
Nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do. And it's really hard to see the person that you love the most in the world going through something like that and know that there's nothing that you can do to fix it. It's like, it's terrifying, to be honest. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely shitty. Been on both ends of that before.
Have you?
Yeah.
I feel like you've never dated someone that competes.
No, not competing, but in like, not directly competing, but like, my significant other having a very difficult time with things, yes. Or me competing, and I don't open up as deep and all perfectly all the time, but when I do, and then like before the Olympia, I would say something to Courtney, and she would like try and like make me feel better, and you're just always positive. You just always try to make everything better, right? Just get upset, you know? No matter what anyone says, you're going to feel how you feel. Mm-hmm. There's no combination of words that are going to help you at that point. Mm-hmm. And that's when on your side, you're just like, you're literally fucked. But like, I mean, afterwards, everything's fine. Obviously.
Yeah, of course. And it's funny because like, on the surface, I feel like people will like look at it and be like, oh, it must be so hard, like if they get mad at you no matter what you say, or like blah blah blah. But it actually, you don't give a fuck about yourself in the moment. I don't care that he hung up on me. I don't care if he needs to yell at me. I don't give a shit. Like it's literally, you're just feeling the pain from him, and that's what hurts. Like I guarantee you, when you like say like to Courtney, like, oh, you're just being positive, like shut up, like her feelings might be hurt, but like that's not what matters at that point. She's looking at you and feeling your pain, and that's what matters at that point. And I think that's what happens when you're like in a very deep connected relationship. It's hard.
Do you think it's better in a relationship like that, if someone's competing, to call them, like say not necessarily the day of the show, but if it's like weeks leading into the show, is it better to just kind of sit back and let them do their venting, do whatever, deal how they deal with it, or to like kind of call them out on it?
Oof.
Depends on the person, I would say.
Yeah, it really depends on what place the person is in their journey. You know what I mean? Because like, you know, with your partner, if they're ready to receive you calling them out on something, and they might actually be able to look inside and be like, oh yeah, you're right. So like maybe it is me. And they might not be that place in their journey yet. And if you say that, it's just going to make them more upset. Because like, I know last year I couldn't say anything to Ian, and this weekend Ian comes home and I can say a lot that he's listening and he's receptive to, because he's now basically, let's be serious, probably hit pretty close to rock bottom. And he's like ready to be like, okay, I actually do need to work on my mental state and my focus and my like ability to relieve the pressure, or like not be as OCD and consistent with everything, and think that if
one thing's off, everything's over.
Yeah, God forbid I miss 10 grams of rice in a meal, that like everything is fucked. You know what I mean? Like there's things that he's realizing that need to change. And I don't think he probably was there a year ago. So I feel like it definitely depends on where and who you are, or who your partner is, basically.
I mean, I think we get so caught up in the whole, I mean, the sport is based on comparing one person to the other, you know? So I think like we forget that like the actual like true aspect of it is really about, I guess, self-improvement over anything. So like instead of comparing yourself to the guy next to you or anything like that, you're comparing yourself from the last show, whether that's your body, your mindset, anything else like that. So I think, like you said, if he's at rock bottom now, but he's kind of self-reflecting and seeing like what went wrong from his mind, not necessarily his body, that would then, it kind of brings you to that next level, I think, going forward. Again, if you're more self-aware of what you need to work on and you fix that going forward, again, you're going to have shitty shows, you're going to have shitty times, whether it's bodybuilding or anything else. But if you can kind of grow from that and, you know, become better, progress forward, I think that's what you make the most out of it, you know?
Mm-hmm. I agree completely.
I do a bit. I still think a big part of bodybuilding beating the guy next to you.
No, it totally is, but you don't think it's about self-improvement at the same time?
Yeah, for sure, part of it. But when people are like, it's you against you, it doesn't matter about the person beside you. It does. I'm here to beat that person too, you know?
Ian would say the same thing.
No, I do agree with that, but I think there's more to it.
Yeah, like I'm not competing at this Olympia to beat Breon, but part of the reason I'm going there is to beat Breon.
To beat Breon, no, of course. I think when you get to that competitive aspect of, like, I mean, it's your job. So I think that to that aspect, yeah, from a job perspective, but I think from a personal one, it is also self-improvement.
For sure, yeah.
I think though, when you take like this specific instance in mind, it's like he feels like he looks like he regressed.
Yeah.
Right?
In this instance, why he's hurt is because he felt like
it's not really about him coming second.
No.
He could have come second and looked the way he looked 3 days out and probably been okay. Like he said to me 3 weeks out, like he wasn't, God forbid I say this, but he was like, if Hunter beats me, like, and I look good, like I'm not going to be that mad, because like I like Hunter.
Yeah.
I mean, like I respect Hunter as a bodybuilder. I'm not going to like he's not an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, and let's be serious, Hunter looked as good as he could have looked. Like Hunter nailed it. He was like polished. His posing was amazing.
He was calm. Confident.
He was calm,
he looked
confident.
Like he was 100% Hunter.
Yeah, he was prepared. Yeah. So he deserves the win, and I feel like And like afterwards, Ian went back to Hunter's Airbnb and ate pizza with Hunter and his family. Like they hung out. And like, thank God, because no one was there. God, if that hadn't happened, I mean, no, Ian hung out with Will too. So there was definitely support there, and Michaela and Joe Binley were there, but still, I just kept like being like, fuck, I wish I had gone.
I mean, I definitely agree that like the most important part and why he was really upset was all internal, him against him, feeling like he regressed and like just the stress and the pressure. But like to add on it, to be the best, and his attitude of being really competitive is attacking everyone you see.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna kick your out. That's the like
a
predator mindset to be at the fucking top. He's hungry, and what he has this already pressure on himself, all this struggle and hurt from letting himself down, and then when he he won't say it, but I'll say it. He could have beat Hunter if he looked his best. I would say that. And then to not look his best and then to lose, that predator mindset is harder to take.
Yeah.
Like you said, he would have been fine. If he looked his fucking best, he peaked and lost, he probably would have been like, what the fuck, Hunter's better than me? I gotta work at the work.
He would have been fine, but he wouldn't have lost.
No, he wouldn't have. He would. And we're biased or not, but like we're not. He would have. I like Hunter too. I fucking love his dad. His fucking dad's beauty.
Ian also now has a massive crush on Lee Labrada.
Fuck, I'm so jealous that he got to eat dinner with him.
Talking about his clothes, like
He's
his
so
tan,
cool.
his hair, his like his facial hair. He's like, he's in such good shape, showing me photos of his like fucking ripped tricep. And I was like, yeah, this man is actually very attractive.
So fucking cool. Such
Yeah.
a beauty. Great poser. Just goals. But yeah, so like to not look your best and to lose someone you know you could have beat is way fucking harder. Way harder. So, and good. Fucking fall down, be spiraled down, feel this, and never want to get back there again. You know, sometimes you gotta fucking. And people will be in limbo. Like if this is being good, this is being really good. This is floating under limbo. They'll fucking float there forever. And it's fucking hitting rock bottom. And you're like, what the fuck is? What? Everything feels so wrong, so shitty. Everything just hit the fan. I need to fucking bounce back. As much as that sucks, it's normally that's how people grow.
I know.
Yeah.
The beauty.
You gotta have extreme lows to have extreme highs.
Yeah.
You know.
This also realistically could be a massive catalyst for him to like actually be the bodybuilder that he can be.
Yeah.
It just needs to be seen as that.
Yeah.
Because even like the demeanor on stage, right? If you were to go compare Hunter to him from a facial standpoint, I mean, Hunter had his smile on. Not that Ian smiles a lot, but even if he had that smile on, I think just that presentation is something that would you would be more. Your eyes would go to him more from that perspective, you know. If you see like you said, prejudge, he did a little bit in finals. He had a smile on a little bit there and everything. But prejudging, you could just tell from a face, like his facial expressions, that he just was like, oh shit, you know.
Didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you don't really think about it, but like your body language is so readable. You know what I mean? At all times, let alone when you're standing naked on stage. You know what I mean? Like your body language tells the biggest story of all. And like if you don't have control over that, like it's hard.
Yeah. So you talking about him like this being a potential catalyst for him, I can't understand from your perspective, but like being someone who's followed a lot of the journey, Matt's seen a lot of the journey, you've seen fucking every bit of it, to care so much about someone and to like never see them reach their full potential is like it's hard when you see everything behind the scenes and leading up to it. Everything's so perfect. He looks so fucking good. And you see like the confidence the week before and like his training, everything is so perfect. You take a progress picture and you're like so excited, and for that to not follow through, being like the wife or whatever, is just like how much you feel for the person to not be accomplishing what they deserve to be accomplished. To see like the 60% version of them up there, it's just like it's hard from your perspective, let alone his own, you know.
And I think people don't see the behind the scenes, but like I don't think truly understand, like Ian doesn't miss meals. He doesn't, like you said, it's bodybuilding or nothing.
You said earlier.
Yeah, I was saying this to Melissa earlier, and that
we were talking about today because Ian didn't want to eat breakfast today. You know what I mean? He had like a moment where he was like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. I like no energy to even eat breakfast. I was like, then don't. Like you competed 2 days ago, go take a nap and the meal, I'll heat up the meal in 30 minutes. And Christopher started talking about like a very interesting.
Yeah. And before I explain this, this is only for Ian.
Yeah,
this is only for anyone listening to this. This is not for you. Don't even try and apply this to your life because you're a fucking liar and it doesn't apply to you. I'm sorry, but it doesn't apply to you. Remember that. But so what I said was he would be more successful if he was less consistent. Like, you actually don't understand. People say you're so consistent, doesn't miss a meal. No, he doesn't miss a fucking gram of rice in the off season. He doesn't. On Christmas fucking day, we're going to Tremblant for vacations. Anywhere, he stays in the chalet with his scale, weighs everything to the gram, and doesn't miss a fucking meal. He doesn't. He actually doesn't. And that causes an additional stress and pressure and OCD and just too much perfection. Too much perfection isn't always a good thing. If you can handle it, some people, I don't think anyone can handle it. That's bullshit. And neither could he. So in moments like getting ready for I was saying, if whatever happens in the future, when he's getting ready for something else in the future, if he's stressed about something and he misses a meal or two, or is like, fuck it, I'm combining these 2 meals, I'm going to skip this workout, I'm going to eat this meal, he'll probably be more relaxed and be a lot better for it because he's not stressing so much about every nitty gritty little detail. And that's like, no one else can say that. I've said this before. If I could fucking find the interview, I wish I could. But I've literally said there are times where like I don't worry so much about like eating a little too much of this or fucking that up because the stress it would cause me to worry about that would detriment me more than me feeling relaxed and balanced not doing it. I'm talking about really little differences. But
I've heard Jensen say this too multiple times in interviews, and it makes sense. And if you think about Ian and how he approaches his training in the gym, and Ian's extremely successful in the gym, like always has good workouts, always getting stronger, like always like high intensity. And he's not, he's consistent in terms of training, whatever, 6 days, 5 days a week, whatever the plan is. But like he'll switch up his like chest day to arm day, or he'll change up the exercises, or he'll do what he trusts his body to do. You know what I mean? He has that trust with his working out, but with his eating or his like sleeping or anything like that, it's just like, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's like too much to the point where there's so much anxiety around getting meals in at the right time and spaced apart, and don't combine meals or don't, you know what I mean? It's too much.
It's the same kind of, it's an attitude that specific kind of people who will then project their fears on those things. Like if he's scared he's not good enough because he's not good enough, he's going to project that onto missing that 10 grams of rice.
Project, like if he misses that 10 grams of rice, he's not going to be good enough.
Yeah, he's like, I look like shit today because of that 10 grams of rice. No, it wasn't a fucking 10 grams of rice.
Yeah.
Fucking gather your shit. If you look like shit, if not because of 10 grams of rice,
yeah,
or you probably don't actually look like shit, you just need to calm the fuck down.
It's also
finding things.
It's also okay to look like shit sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fuck, I look like shit for the first 11 weeks of my prep.
Did you look at your videos?
Oh yeah.
You would rewatch them.
Yeah.
And then you still sent them to Ian.
Yeah.
Because you didn't really care.
I cared, but like there was nothing I could do about it.
Yeah. So like Ian, if he doesn't like it, he needs to retake it 5 different times in 5 different places to like it and then send to his coach. And I said to him this morning, I was like, if this happens again, you need to send your coach the shitty videos. Like it doesn't do anyone any good to not show the bad parts. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no. I never redid videos either. It's just like, fuck it, that's how I look.
Yeah. I'm like you.
Still stressed me out, but like nothing I could do about it. Fucking power through, I guess.
Well, you can acknowledge that you look like shit, send it to the coach, get a game plan, and move forward to try to not look like shit anymore.
Yeah. And I believed that I was doing all I could.
Yes. That's another thing. You still have to be doing all that you can.
Yeah. If you're putting everything you can into something that's not working, like actually putting everything you can, then, like you can't fucking really get mad.
Yeah.
Like like everyone said that if you lose but you gave your fucking all, you're not gonna be nearly as mad as if you just quit.
Yeah, for sure.
And just to touch on when you said nobody is like what you said doesn't apply to anybody else, especially like I remember the story you told me in the off season about Ian is I mean, he eats everything to a gram, everything like that. He's eating, I don't know how many thousands of more calories than anybody else. And the fact that I think one day he, I guess, had a free day Patrick gave him, and his free day, anybody, I don't care what they say, they would go out, they would eat whatever. And his free day, he like said, can I just not eat or something that day? Yes, can I just fast? And I think like that's the difference between him and like everybody else is, I mean, there's probably some other bodybuilders that would do the same, but like he doesn't enjoy the eating. Like he does it because he's purely like that passionate about it. So the fact that like he could have had anything he wanted that day, from pizza to burgers to this, that, and he wanted to fast instead. I mean, I think that's just let everybody know like how extreme it goes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And how amazing he felt that day.
Yeah.
I know, he was so chill. Oh my God, he was so chill.
Like, imagine if he just like implemented a little bit of that. You know?
I know, like 10% chill every day. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like, fuck, I can't finish this meal, whatever, I'll throw out the rest of the race.
Yeah.
Once a week or something, you know? Again, nobody fucking do that. Eat your fucking rice. But I know you got it underway.
Coaches around the world are like cursing you right now.
Yeah.
They're like, Mr. Olympia said that I could do this.
Chris told me I'd be better if I was less consistent. No, fuck you all. You need to be more consistent because none of you are.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you want to wrap that up anyway, or anything else you want to add?
I think I said everything. I mean, at the end of the day, like the hardest part is being so invested in something and not really having, and I don't mean something in winning. That's not what I'm invested in. I'm invested in the growth and the well-being of my husband. And to not have any control over that on weekends like this, it's very, very, very painful. And like, I wish for 5 minutes, 5 seconds, he could see himself through my eyes and see like, you want to believe in your husband so much that's like you don't believe in yourself. I'm going to believe in you enough for you. You know what I mean? I'm going to hold you up and I'm going to tell you that you can do this. And I'm here believing in you so you don't have to believe in yourself. And like, you want that to work, but it doesn't always work. And it sucks. But I also truly think that what he's going through right now is like a huge thing for his like growth as a person and as a bodybuilder. And I think he already, like based on how I reacted after the Arnold and how he's reacting now, he's already coping way better than I did. You know what I mean? Like I didn't talk. I wouldn't go on social media. I was gone for what, a year? Like he's already like
acknowledging.
Yeah. You know, like he's talking and he's acknowledging. So like I have full faith that like this is going to be a good thing and that he's going to be better than ever. So
2021 will be a movie.
Is that from something?
It's just a thing.
Oh, okay. I'm 30.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh.
Game hasn't even begun.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean that applies to everything in life. It's not obviously just competing. I'm sure a lot of both fucking male, females feel this on there, or whoever you're dating. You feel this in your significant other.
Mm-hmm.
If you truly care and love for someone, comes up in any aspect ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, guess that's a wrap on that, guys. Thanks again for listening. We got Melissa crying on this episode.
Yeah, sorry I like talked the whole time. I feel like I like did.
I think people like when you talk more than all of us. So everyone's like, great podcast, but like Melissa is what we're here for.
Yeah, but maybe that's because I'm like a fucking mic hog and I'm like, excuse me. Like
okay, good.
No, the biggest thing I've seen with you is that you're, what is it, Gail Gadot or something? I don't know who that is.
Oh, Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
I don't know how
Gal
to say her
Gadot.
name. I don't really feel like I look like her at all.
I gotta look it up. I haven't seen it. I've just seen like 1,000 comments comparing you to her.
Listen, that's a huge compliment, but like I don't think you can ever like as yourself look at someone else and be like, I look like that. Because like you see so many like ugly imperfections. Like I would never be like, oh, I look like that, because like to me I'm like, oh no, she's perfect, you know? Like
I thought you looked like Jean Grey a lot from X-Men. You found that a lot.
But I thought that was the same person.
No, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Wait,
I mean,
is it the same person?
Basically, I just look like
I
a
wonder if it's the
superhero,
same
so that's
person.
fine.
Yeah, at least they're all superheroes, right? Is it? I don't think it's the same actress, but I might be
I
wrong.
think it's the same person.
It's like Gal Gadot is new on the scene.
Yeah, but
And the X-Men movie's like 12 years old.
no, you're right. I I thought that Gal Gadot was Jean Grey, but she's not.
Okay.
I can't really remember what the other one looks like right now, but I get Jean Grey a lot.
Well, either way, you're a superhero.
Superhero to us all.
Thanks, guys.
And with that note, we'll be signing out. Thank you all for listening. XOXO.
Bye. I love you, Ian.